Good afternoon, all. It's always a pleasure to appear on your screens whenever it's time for Real Talk with Kike. And of course, occurrences keep happening and decisions are being made on a daily basis. The quality of these decisions, either from the leaders or from the masses of Nigeria, affect the condition and the future of you and I in this country. And whatever decisions are these, whether positive or negative, it deserves some real talk from us on this platform. And I say again, welcome on, what's it called now? Another interesting episode of Real Talk Week. And I remain your host, Kike Lomatan. And of course, I have our house husband in the house, on the table. Marshall, how you doing?
Another episode, another anniversary, you know, another color, another bravery, another braggadocious lady, you know, tomato juice. Hi guys, welcome. It's Real Talk with Kike, and who better to be here with than Kike herself? I mean, the show isn't complete without her. And yeah, my name is Marshall Anthony Onoye. Last time I was on this show, I almost said my name is Kike. I'm not going to do that today. Lala is here. Lala, how you doing?
Yeah, super excited. I like to be like the Barbie in the room because Kike has some kind of casual energy going on. And I'm feeling a fire like, I was abused.
Thanks to Mango.
Thanks, Mango. We really appreciate the way you clothe her. She looks extraordinary every day. And there's so many other things that we know about her that I don't have the courage to speak of. But we have a birthday. We have a birthday coming. We have a book launch coming. And we have the anniversary of something important that Kike abstains from coming.
What's that?
Yeah, what's that?
You know.
So I'm the one who's got loud mouth on this one. So we're planning on how to bring up the anniversary, and out of nowhere, Lola just goes, Kike, we should celebrate the 2 years of being a celebrity.
3 years, please.
3 years of being a celebrity. And I was like, we're talking about the anniversary of RTWK show. And she's talking about the anniversary of Kike being
Celebrate. You know, it's such, you're a unicorn. You're an endangered species. The Association of, Women of the World appreciate your type.
All right. The way both of you are going on and on. Can I just put it out there? I've been doing a lot of...
You've been doing a lot of work.
A lot of research. Oh, you've been doing a lot of research.
A lot of naughty things in the last...
couple of days.
In the last few weeks. So... I'm not sure if I can be in that group of celebrities.
Wow.
Whatever it
we'll have a lot of talk after the show.
No, there's nothing to talk about. All right, guys. Nigeria will always have something to say from our history. It's time for us to listen to Nigerians' voice from the past. Stay tuned to what is on this day in history segment before my co-host puts me in trouble. We'll be right back.
On this day in history, October 12, 2012, exactly 9 years ago, Goodluck Jonathan described the floods that hit the country over the space of few months as a national disaster. Exceptional rainfall has caused chaos across Africa's most populous nation, and the Niger River, the third longest in the continent, has burst its banks. The torrential monsoon rain was estimated to have killed at least 140 people across the country, and in the northern state of Kogi alone, with more than 623,000 people who have been displaced at the time.
Mashallah, on this day in history, what's your take on it?
On this day in history, Kike has been doing some naughty things, but I'm just trying to keep my head on the program. Well, yeah, so you see, climate change is still going to get worse, if we don't do what we're supposed to do. The typhoons, the tsunamis, the floods, we keep seeing them coming. And time is past when we in this part of the world lived in denial that it's not going to affect us. We have a perfect weather condition, perfect climate, that the wrongs we do to the environment wouldn't get back to us. We're beginning to see earthquakes. We're beginning to see swaths of huge floods. We're beginning to see now the dam in the southwestern part of Nigeria, we hear, is always overflowing, and we see the need to always release the dam and the damages it does. And also we've heard about how the Ministry of Environment has said the continuous drilling of the Earth surface could lead to movements and all of that. So, yes, we would expect worse.
There's so many things that we do not do, right? And those are the things I challenge. We were making decisions that we're not considering the environment. Have you seen some land mines? Have you seen, flooders practically eating off the roads? As in you see a gully, an erosion, so many. And this is not just causing harm to the environment. We're talking about the people too. Because every time flooding happens, people are displaced. And half the time, they cannot even replace where they have been displaced from. So and that was then. So imagine what happened then, that they were even shouting that, oh, this is something they've never seen before. This is serious epidemic or whatever they named it at that time. Imagine what's happening now, that we're still having more rains and the environment is still being affected. And of course, we're not really focusing on it as a nation. We don't think it's something really important.
Yeah. All right, with what both of you have said, I don't think I have more to say again, because I am still trying to get over what's the bombshell. We are still reflecting on the post-independence era for Nigeria, and Nigerians particularly, with respect to the pains and gains of independence after colonial era. And many has been said since last week with regards to the presidential speech on October 1st and the direction seen from the president's agenda itself. We know that Nigerians have enjoyed some benefits, and many will say that the pains, the pains are far more than the benefit itself. So today, my co-host, Marshall Anthony, insisted that we must discuss the pains and gains of independence since 1960. So our discussion will revolve around anything that can be attributed to development, the setbacks for our dear country. And to discuss this topic with us is a special guest from Marshall Anthony, and he's someone who in the last 32 years have been actively involved in project management of high-profile projects, and also he has been delivering analytical discussion towards national development. I think those are the few things that I did research on, and I had to have my submission on that. But all right, many thanks for staying with us, and I must say thank you so much, Adedayo Fabulu. I hope I pronounced that name properly. Oh, thank you. Oh gosh, because I know how to I'm other people's name, but now I'm getting better. And okay, going straight to the point. I know that part of the things that I researched about you is about. I think before I go straight into that, let's first of all concentrate on why you're here, apart from an expanding population that Nigeria has since independence. What can our dear country, boast of in terms of gains and in terms of gains since independence?
Well, it depends on how you look at it.
Okay.
The different perspectives to it. Are we talking about socio-economical? Are we talking about socio-political? The question is, where exactly do we want to focus on? If it's economics, definitely there isn't much to be said.
Okay.
The devaluation of the naira, the collapse of industry, practically. I mean, the collapse of our learning forms, tacit and explicit. Okay. The bottom line really is, there's not much to write home about in the Nigerian situation. If it's socio-political, of course, you know what we're talking about. The political system is, we're learning, we're at the learning stages. We're evolving gradually, but we're not there yet. Of course, it's also laden with a lot of corruption and social ills. So we have a problem there too. There's no point in which you turn to that you can actually say in reality that we've made any serious gains. But this is not to say nothing has happened. It just means we haven't made any serious gains. That's all. So,
listening to you, I'm addressing my mind. I remember being I don't think I was born then, but I could see pictures, videos of when we got our independence. There was so much hope in the country at that time. You would see, the change of baton, you would see the Africanness in us, the Nigerianness in us, standing aside the colonial masters. You would think at that point that we are going to make some monumental, advancement.
Change,
Where would you say we started getting it wrong? Would you say we started getting it wrong from the people that took over right after? Or where did this decadence start from? Okay. Is it the Azikiwe time, the Gowons?
Right. That's a really complex question, because it's multifaceted, and the issues are this. One, there's a part of it which is cognitive. There's a part which is cultural. There's a part which is, let's just say, the educational system. Now, but let's just look at a few of them for starters. Culture is referred to as a mental programming of the people. And basically what happens is, based on the interaction of individuals, the individual groups of people, you tend to form what you call a dominant culture. Now, that culture is the one that is presented and overrides all other cultures when we start interacting with each other. The first problem with Nigeria, which is very evident, is there's a flaw in our dominant cultures. And I'll just give you the example to be straight. Yes, we looked at things then, but we looked at things then without an understanding. I was reading an article a few days ago about the Eastern region, and it was such an impressive article. Everybody that was put into the plan in 1952 to the 60s had a PhD. Every single individual that was planning for the East in the past had a PhD. Now, let's fast forward now to this point. Who are the people that we celebrate in the East? Yes, financial giants without any substance most of the time. I'm not being specific. I mean, there are one or two exceptions to the rule, but generally you find out that, I mean, the talk of the town for the last few months was Obi Kubera. I mean, nobody's talking about the Kike Obis and all these, I mean, illustrious sons of the East that had done great things. It's a totally different mindset. Now, this is what I'm talking about. When the culture of a nation, once it deviates, I call it a cognitive derailment. That's what I call it. Once it deviates and it deviates onto the wrong track, the results are what you see. We have some of the best brains in the world. There's no debate about it. I mean, from the East, even up to the North, we have a couple of excellent people. The Nobel Laureate Prize winner for literature used to be a lecturer at BUK. So there is no debate about it that we are brilliant. We've seen it from, I mean, kids in diaspora. But the question is, what have we done here? Now, the next problem, apart from the cognitive state, is what you call the tacit and explicit learning forms. Now, the problem with life is you need two forms of education to create innovation. You need what you call the explicit, which is the theory that we learn in school, and you need the tacit, which is practice. It is the only way innovation comes to be in any economy. What we have done is we have concentrated on the explicit forms of learning at the expense of the tacit forms of learning, and nothing emerges from it. It's impossible. The final part is the British intentionally left us with a legacy in which we will feed their system. Basically what we are is we are a feeder system for the British, the colonial government. They mine our minerals, they mine our minds, and that is what they have left us with. We have not had the capacity, even though we have brilliant people that have looked at these subjects and have advised us correctly, we have not had the capacity to correct this legacy, and that is why we are.
So would you say that you're throwing away the crop of political leaders that we've had in time past? Because if you say that we've not had the capacity to redirect, reposition our routes, you know, to going away from that derailment and coming back on track.
Yes.
And that should have been the responsibility of the crop of political leaders. So how would you begin now to describe the crop of political leaders we've had post-independence and today, Fourth Republic as well?
I think it goes beyond that. Sorry, it goes a lot far beyond that. It's not about the past and the present alone. And it's not about political leaders. I mean, the political system is flawed. But you must understand that the political system is an output of our cultures. We've said the cultures are flawed already, that there's a cognitive derailment in our cultural system. Now, if this has happened, obviously any output, political or otherwise, will also be flawed.
So how can we get it right?
There's no comparison. Look, what we need is something like what China did. It's a total reorientation.
Wow.
I mean, starting from the primary schools. I mean, just like some people do, which you know, you teach these children everything from the start in a totally new mindset. Because look, the mindset we have is utterly flawed.
Yeah, I hear you, and I know you've said a lot. You've discussed, you've analyzed about our
Right.
country's leadership, about governance, about politics with
Right.
respect to our post-independence era. But those in government, will say that let's look forward and and that we can get better, basically.
Yes.
With the look of things, how do we make the situation of Nigeria and its people better, aside reorientation of students that you just emphasized on?
Wow.
In the simplest and the most practical terms.
say, also say no,
I think, I think, look, I wish
Is it impossible to fathom?
Look, you see, I'm trying, but my advice is this: we need to reform the system in such a way that it's based on merit.
Okay.
The only way to bring out any form of excellence in the midst of this whole confusion is if we instill meritocracy, a system by
How do
which
you mean?
you are rewarded for the excellence you bring to the table. You know, the question I ask you, and I don't mean to be disrespectful to any group of people within the country, but the question I ask you is, we do have a president, we have a vice president, and of course we can see the political, the Senate and the House. Basically, would you say that these people are a true representation of what we stand for as a people? Now, the debate is this. It is not that they do not stand for certain people, but do they stand for the majority of the people in this country? Do they represent the excellence in us? The answer is evidently no. We have, scholars...
And don't you think the fault is ours because we do not vote the right people
Yeah,
in
but
power?
we've said that. We've said already there's a cultural problem.
Yeah.
So any output from a flawed system is going to be flawed. That's the point.
But
Now,
moving forward, if
yeah.
we're going to be looking at this, this is like a very academic discussion.
Yes, it is.
It's like I'm having a PhD lecture right now. But to the common man, in
Yes.
just clear English.
Yes.
Like we're looking at 2023 before us, and we're wondering, what would be our criteria of choice if we could?
I think for starters...
Talking about meritocracy.
I think for
Yeah.
starters, the electorate itself you're talking about, they are not well informed. They don't understand what the issues are, for starters. I've sat down to talk with traders in the market, and their concerns are basically short term. It's not a long-term thing. They want to be able to walk into the market and sell their produce without any restrictions. They want to be able to have access to these produce without restrictions. They do not care whether it improves the economy or not. Now, somebody needs to explain the long-term implications for them when they go to the polls, when they actually go to vote. That, listen, if you take this decision, this is what you will end up with.
All right, I hear you. Earlier you were talking about we have a lot of creative in the world.
Yes.
And I know that our national resources, in terms of crude oil and
Yeah.
fertile land for agriculture,
Yes.
is what some argue about, that we are blinded by that in terms of health of human capital
Right.
that we have in the country. So I must ask you, do you think that we are really blessed with so much intelligent people with great creative minds? And what is your own take on using our own human capital for growth and development in our country?
You will always come back, no matter how you want to make it look good, you will always come back to the state of mind of the people in a country. There's nothing, you can't avoid it.
Okay.
It is evident. Buhari tried, he started off, he tried. That's the point. He gave you the impression that, we could go back to the farms, we need to maximize our resources. He made that very clear. And I guess we all grasp that because we have people going back to the farms, young people going back to the farms. I went to a college where we have farms also. We have a college farm. It's massive. We brought in tractors from China. So yeah, we heard what he said. But it doesn't change the fact that where the system is flawed, mentally, cognitively, you will keep on ending up at the same sport. I think you should reiterate the question first. Because
What was the question?
So her question was wondering on how we can read, because you made an assertion about going back to the roots and how we need to change orientations, starting with the schools, and she said, look,
how can we use the human capital for growth and development in our country?
We've got brilliance,
Yeah.
we've got brilliant minds,
Now,
and then huge human capital. How can we
let me
combat
explain that. You see, knowledge is built on foundations. And when I mean knowledge, I mean developing knowledge within your human capital framework. Knowledge is like a foundation. You build a house, and you build the foundation, you build the walls, and you go on like that. It's the same thing with knowledge. You build on knowledge. Now, at a certain point in time, you bring the two forms of knowledge together. Now, what we need to do, right, is we need to go back to the basics. We're very, like I said, you said we're very intellectual, we're very, we're well educated. The form of education that is required to drive the human capital itself is practice. I mean, we need to go and get our hands dirty. It's not the verbal conversations we're having. I mean, the doctoral students, the MSc students, they all need to go back to the farm. They need to go back to the industries, they need to go back to the factories. That is the way we can evolve the human capital that we have here.
But I was thinking that when I was growing up, technical colleges were more, we used to differentiate it from universities that, this is the school where you get more practical knowledge. But now, when you look at the disparity between the degrees you come out from, maybe an OND and a BSc, maybe that has even watered it down, making people feel that if you go to a technical college, you're getting inferior knowledge.
That exactly is what the problem is. I mean, somebody spoon-fed us the wrong minerals or the wrong vitamins, so we grew up wrong. You cannot really devolve practice from theory, because the object of theory itself is to inform the quality of our lives, which is our practice. And the object of practice itself is to ensure that the quality of our lives is greatly improved. So what we have done is we have bought a brand new car with a fantastic engine, and we have no wheels.
All right, many thanks for that, because I know that we are running out of time, and I really want us to touch on a lot of sectors.
Right.
So I want to move it down to your profession now. You are a project management professional, and in terms of construction projects, IT project as well. I think tourism projects are also things that we've leveraged in terms of countries like UAE, and we've used that to reinforce the revenue generation in Nigeria. So I must ask you, we have been shouting diversification in our country since God knows when. When I engage the elites, they think about everybody's talking about diversification. So I must ask you, how and what should we diversify into? But before you answer that question, I understand that we have a caller on the line. Many thanks for calling, Bola from Jos. What's your contribution on the topic at hand? Please go straight to the point because of time.
My contribution to this discussion is that I want to advise our government, even in Nigeria, let the technical college be put back. Let people go back. It's not everybody that have the resources to go to university. And not all.
Apologies, I have to let that go. When you're calling, please try to reduce the volume of your TV set so that we can hear you and you are clearer in your question or comment or analysis on the topic at hand. So can you please answer the question regarding how and what should we diversify into?
Diversification.
I think agriculture for starters. That's the starting point, because we have the resources, and we can start from any point. Manual, automated. We can start from any point. The second thing we need to do is we need to start processing. Now, I'll try to explain that properly. A lot of the raw materials, or what represents raw materials for industry, universally, the British have intentionally left us in a position where we cannot process our raw materials. So everything that is raw in Nigeria is sent out unprocessed. So there's no added value, really. The second thing we need to do is we need to start processing all our own resources. I mean, the oil has to be processed here. Cocoa has to be processed here. Maize, starch, they should never, As a matter of fact, CAFTA should get together with, the African nations should get together, Nigeria inclusive, and say, no, it's a policy now in Africa, we will not give you our raw materials. Bring your processing plants into Africa. Add value, create jobs for our people. Look, that alone...
Human capital.
Yeah, that alone will change the whole dynamic of Nigeria.
Huge.
Look, just process. I'm not saying go the extra length. Process your maize. Go to the farm, harvest your yam. Cassava, starch for medicine. Starch for other products. Tablets, whatever it is. Just process what you have.
And let them come here. And let them
come here and do it.
Okay, so the challenge for me is when I still go back to the leaders again, the crop of political leaders that we have. Lolo here and Kike have both stated how the rich or wealthy Nigeria seem to be in terms of intellectuals, having great intellectuals. Why can't we find that level of intellectuality in our political realm?
Many thanks for that that question, but please, you answer in a bit. We have Kehinde from Edo State calling. Kehinde, please go straight to the point because of time.
Hello?
Go ahead, we can hear you. Excellent.
Yeah, on the issue of Nigeria as a system and the presidential something you are talking about, I think when we are talking about presidential, we are talking about somebody who rules all over the whole country. I don't know if you are hearing me.
We can
They
hear
are all
you.
ears.
And here we have a president who is a military personnel from the military. I think we can look into the basics. Somebody to have a qualification of being a doctor, study business administration, studied accounting. So those kind of people, look at what they studied and know if they have human feelings that will make them to...
Thanks, Kehinde, for your contribution.
My question I asked, because last night a video started trending. I don't know if it started trending before then. In the run-up to the governorship election in Anambra State, which is just a few days away, we had a governor who mounted a podium and a stage, and he was, speaking to a cheering crowd and saying that, look, we know what the people want, and we're going to give them what the people want. And for once, I thought, okay, here we go, someone speaking what the people want. And he then says, they want money. We'll go to the grassroots. We'll give them white money, and they'll come and vote for us.
I'll explain to you very easily, and I've said this several times. The way the system is designed, it can only throw up the dregs. A system has to be evolved through the process of meritocracy, like we say. And I'll try and explain that to you. Now, for a first degree, it is theoretized that you need 90 hours of learning. For a second degree, it's about 180 hours. For a doctoral, you need 540 hours of learning. Now, a Nigerian senator, earns a lot more than a medical doctor with a PhD. Now, you don't expect the best to emerge when you are not rewarded for excellence. We're saying this man has devoted a whole life, 540 with 180 and 90 hours of learning. And some guy who has a school certificate or who has a
O-level.
A school university, earns more than him. How do you expect excellence to emerge if you allow dregs to rise to the top? This is the problem with Nigeria. The only way we can get results, get decent people running for governorships and other political seats, is if we allow merit to take place and the system is not designed for those who work hard.
So going forward, many argue that we readdressing our constitution will pave way for development and resolve most of our issues, while some fundamentally believe that the next Nigerian president comes 2023 that has the capacity to change the Nigerian narrative for good. What are your thoughts on this narrative or this opinion, if I may ask?
I'm a bit shivered when it comes to those kind of things. I'll tell you what.
Why?
I don't see any good coming out of bad. I've never seen it happen before, but yeah, there's a possibility. I look at things from
So which is bad now? Is it the constitution?
The whole thing is terrible. The constitution, the country, everything is flawed. Now, but let me tell you what I see life as. I see life from two perspectives.
Okay.
I see it from the theory of chaos, in which everything disintegrates and there's emergence of a new entity, or I see it as an intentional, effort to correct the flaws that already exist. One of the two will definitely happen. There are no in-betweens for them. But the bottom line is this. We can delude ourselves as much as we like. If we don't look at these flaws, analyze these problems critically and address them, we will still end up in the same position. Let's take it, from the possible candidates that may emerge. Bola Tinubu, one.
You're a very good friend.
We're my good friend, right? Femi Adesina, possibly. The vice president, yes?
Osibajo.
Peter Obi, right?
Atiku Abubakar.
Mogelu, Atiku Abubakar. Atiku Abubakar. Now the bottom line is this. Either way we look at it, there are very few people that seem to represent what we stand for.
As a people.
Now, what I mean by, when I say this, I address Tinubu with a lot of respect, but I think his work has been done. We have reached a point where things need to be done on merit. We know he doesn't run a system on merit. He appoints people. He's like a godfather, a kingpin, an excellent politician.
He has never gotten it wrong when it comes to appointing
Yes,
people.
That
you gave to
I
him?
disagree with you.
Oh, really?
He
Why?
got it wrong with Ambode. Definitely.
No.
Right.
I wouldn't want you to say that.
You've touched Kike.
I wouldn't want you to say
you've
that.
touched the tail.
So Ambode
right.
is a technocrat and is not a full politician. And the
Right.
reason why you saw that his administration was different from the way the regular politicians will run the administration of this state.
The same applies to Fashola. I've sat down with these people, and there's an incredible difference between the two of them. Now, Fashola too wasn't a politician. He was seconded from his profession.
Fashola wasn't a politician, but Fashola understood the language of politicians, and Fashola knew how to balance both. For some of us, not everybody understands the. You know what? I really don't want to dive into this because of the way my call. You know what? Lastly, because we're running out of time, I must ask you. Let's just leave this topic because you and I can just start debating on this. You know?
Yeah.
Right.
Let's just and drink.
All right. You know, you are the managing consultant
Yes.
based on the profile that I received.
Right.
For the first time, my co-host is bringing somebody that I like.
Right.
In terms of intellectuals, let me put it out there. And of course, you're a director of Workout Design Group.
Yes.
So I must ask you, in brief, tell us about your company and the kind of projects you have been executing thus far. But I understand that we have a caller, but apologies, I cannot pick any calls anymore because of time. What do you have to say to
Well,
this?
my firm is a design consultancy firm, and basically our special area is construction industry. Basically, and what we do is we build, we make components for the buildings you see around, GTB, Zenith Bank. Basically what we do is the components that are required to make the building work, we design them, we fabricate them, and we install them. That's basically what we do, my firm. But it goes beyond that. We're also consultants to lots of educational bodies.
Okay.
ULDA, other institutions, that basically what they want to do is they want to bring the practice of whatever work we do with the theory together, which is what we need to bring about a system that is innovative. So that's
how has the ease of doing business in Nigeria been for you?
There's no ease of doing
There is
business
no
in
ease
Nigeria.
of doing business in
No.
Nigeria. There
In
is none
Nigeria.
whatsoever.
But-
There's multiple taxation.
But
The policies are bad.
you know, a lot of people will look at people like you that are academics and say, all you know is book. You don't know the practicality of
Oh, they're wrong.
running businesses.
I have run
running the country like politically.
Wrong. I have run industry for 33 years. I have served most governors in this country.
Yeah, I went through his profile and
Yeah.
I must say that with what Marshall have just brought, the facilitation
Oh,
of this
Marshall.
guest, I hope the other co-hosts are taking a cue from it. For those who are
Oh, okay,
listening, for
cool.
those who are here, that this is the type of co-host that this is the type of guest, because I just challenged.
You signed
I
up for Real
just
Talk.
challenged my co-hosts that
Right,
going
you signed
forward.
up for Real Talk.
The
The speaker will be here
the
by
stress
herself next
cannot be on me driving in guests to this show, and they will just be seated and be asking questions. So this is how you should. All right, we're running out of
So
time
you
now.
wanna give me a high
I
five?
must say
High
that
five.
thank you, Adedayo, for being on the show today. It's an
All right, give
interesting
respect
time
afterwards.
with you on Real Talk with Kike. But before I let you go, there's a segment that we call Trending Story. These are stories that bind us together as Nigerians, and I must say that the first trending story that caught our attention is that of Tiwa Savage, the Blackmailer and Tiwa Savage. And I must say, Nigerian pop singer got candid about how a stranger attempted to extort her by threatening to make expose the video of her and her secret boyfriend public, and she decided not to want to pay for this ransom. I'm very sure you saw this.
I did. Yes, I did.
Well, let me start with you. What's your take on it, or your
Well, for
analysis?
starters, I don't believe it. If that's what you want to hear.
You don't believe her.
I don't believe her.
Okay.
It doesn't make any sense.
Okay.
And secondly, I mean, why would you do a thing like that? Really?
Thank you, Masha.
End of it. That's it. Why would you do a thing like that?
For the blackmailer, why would he do a thing like that? Or for Tiwa Savage,
I mean,
why would she have the recording?
Leave the blackmailer. He's morally decadent. So we know that already. But that's not the point. Tiwa Savage needed to be more cautious. I mean, she's a public figure. Please, let's call her a pop star.
Masha, high five again. All right. Wow. What's your take?
I totally think that we can own our lives the way we want it. If it's something that is meant between her and her lover, with eschewing the third party,
Yeah.
Yes.
which you must have gotten it from fraudulent means. You
Yeah,
don't
because-
know the kind of
because I
sexuality.
feel-
You don't know who
Yeah.
she is as a person. Maybe that's how they get their own kicks.
people
So
that
we
won't-
cannot
let-
begin to.
Let me politely interject. You see, with freedom comes responsibility.
Yes.
You must understand these things. I mean, there's no conversation going on here. It's her responsibility to do whatever she likes in her private life.
Yeah.
And it's her responsibility also to protect herself and protect those that she loves. She has failed to do it under these circumstances. It's her problem.
All right. So
Bottom line.
So for
I
me, I don't want us to have a lot of talking
Yes.
heads. So we'll take turn. But for me, I personally feel that I have not seen the video, just like you said so, and I think Mololo said that. Or someone said that.
haven't seen
And
it.
I'm yet to also see the tape leaked. However, I want to address this whole saga from
Yes.
two angles, and those angles, I think the first angle for me is a confession and her taking ownership, because not many people will take ownership of that act. And from another angle, yeah, I would say that I'm highly disappointed, just like you've emphasized earlier, because for me, these celebrities, as far as I'm concerned, I think they should change themselves, and they don't know the impact and the influence that they have on many of their fans and followers. You know, I think that they should be fleeing away from anything scandalous to the as far as I'm concerned, because I do not understand how someone like Tiwa Savage will engage in such an act. I don't care. No problem. You have your
I
time.
disagree
How
with
would you put a camera? This is my take. How would you put a camera while having an intercourse with your partner, for crying out loud? Because I'm coming, guys. Because see, why should she even get carried away?
Excuse me.
No. I know both of you. Just listen to me. I know both of you belong to the same WhatsApp group. And myself and this.
See, you can't judge us because we don't share your opinion.
I'm not judging.
You can't judge us.
Can we please not have too many talking heads?
Is this going to be 2 hours?
And I feel that she's in the public eye. She should do better. Now, moving away from that, I understand that sex can be spontaneous. I hope I'm allowed to use that word on air.
Right.
And for some, sex are very spontaneous for people like you guys. And why it is planned, and for me, I just feel that for other people, it has to be planned. Maybe for people like us. Let me put it like that.
Don't you feel attacked?
Indulge me.
What do you feel about celibacy?
Indulge me. Indulge me.
Let's not have too many
I'm
talking
getting
heads.
some.
What do you
I
think about
like this
celibacy?
real talk.
Please indulge
What do
me.
you feel about celibacy?
Let me explain something to
I'm
you.
getting somewhere.
Can
Before
you
Now-
continue us?
before you explain,
No, you
please,
should have gone somewhere before attacking us.
before you explain,
Celibacy
I
can be
feel
spontaneous, and they can celebrate 3 years of celibacy, and nobody
I
should
know
blame
we
you.
should plan it.
And
Put it
we
in
should
the
plan
day
it.
planner.
Please indulge me. Look, I'm also a creative person. I come from the creative field also. I studied industrial design, and I studied fine art before I drifted into other things. Now, the bottom line is creatives are very, very spontaneous. So that's not the point. I mean, they do the craziest things for inspiration.
I pleaded that you guys should allow me land.
Yes.
When I understand
Land
that
without us.
No, hold on.
Land
Land without us.
So when I understand that some people would do
Yes.
things spontaneously.
No, I'm not
And
joking.
hold on.
We have a second story, you know.
Hold on.
Yes.
And I also understand that some people like us, we have to plan things. You know, we try to keep it real on this platform. And I must emphasize that Tiwa Savage is someone that likes so much, and I want us to at least register that. But she has done something very disgraceful as far as I'm concerned to our fans, as one of our fans.
Yes.
And on the other hand, another blog revealed, and I agree with you with what you said earlier, that you do not believe that such an act happened, because another blog revealed that she is not the one who did with the substantial evidence, you know, and if she's not the one, she's doing it for media stunts, as far as I'm concerned, or doing cloud chasing. So it is not until we degrade ourselves or our soul in terms, you know, and our integrity, so to say, before we can make fame. And that was the angle that I was coming from before you guys. So what is the essence? What is the essence of that fame without a good name?
I don't know.
I don't understand that. I don't understand
Some people would actually think you're very judgmental because
I don't I don't think, you see, the problem with the problem with the creative industry, the music industry.
You're judging by your own.
The arts generally, credibility is a conversation in the arts. It has nothing to do with being right or wrong.
Exactly.
I'm saying if she has any concerns about her reputation, then it's her responsibility to protect herself. She has failed to do that. Look, what she does.
But I've seen people go into like your fintech company and take documents from your file that you did not authorize and leak it out.
There's a possibility.
Exactly, that's the
that's not the point.
That she could never have released that thing
She
on
has
her own.
she has a responsibility.
She probably
to
did
herself.
protect it, and somebody went
I
over and above
I tell you,
to get it
honestly,
out.
it might just be a stunt for a conversation.
All right, but let me we are running out of time.
Right,
But let me register this quickly.
Yes.
What's it called? I know that there's so much competition in the industry, especially the female artists.
Yeah.
And a lot of newcomers like Thames have come with a lot of 70 million views on her songs, while the likes of Tiwa Savage has 7 million songs and the likes, and that doesn't give room for rubbish and nonsense. Yes, I said that. And at both levels, as far as I'm highly disappointed. I must register that, because she's not the likes of Kim Kardashian, and there's no reason why she should place herself in a position where she'll be blackmailed. I understand that we all sin differently, and I'm not here to throw stone at her, because I could also be sinning. She's somebody that I like, but we have to say things as
She's not the likes of Kim Kardashian.
All right. Moving on, Lolo. Moving on. I cannot hear our technical director right now, but moving on quickly, we have just 2 minutes. The second story that caught our attention is that of the girl who was brutally whipped by teachers in front of our fathers at an Islamic school in Nigeria. I know that Lolo has something strong, a message to pass across.
There is no way we can say that is right. There are some things that are just beyond normal. You can't tell me Sharia law would support a woman being whipped like this. It doesn't make any sense. And the father will come out and say, I agree to what they're doing. Where is our fundamental human right? Who is going to protect the girl child? I know that in Ilorin and this kind of places, they're very, very religious. And I know that we need to see some Islamic clerics come outside and let's even look at the Sharia law and see what it really stipulates. Because it seems that the interpretation of these things is subject to the imams only. And if a law does not protect the rights of the people, what law is that? I'm a lawyer, and this is so appalling.
All right. Many thanks, Lolo, for that. This is quite annoying to me, and I can say that the father saying that he sent the girl to the Islamic school for her to be flogged. I feel that was out of place. While I understand that alcohol is not something or is prohibited for Muslims, and the people who did the fighting should, or who did the flogging rather, should be persecuted as far as I'm concerned. We need to put a stop on such actions and barbaric acts. This is how you see men grow up and become abusive, and they now become serial perpetrators to domestic violence and also, of course, their wives. So I'm asking myself, why are they upholding such barbaric acts at this age and time? I'm very sure that there is no way in their religious books, so to speak, that permits a grown woman to be flogged like that, whether in public or in private. And I can challenge anybody with that anywhere, even if I've not read in a while. But the question is, even children or slaves don't deserve to be flogged like that. There's a total humiliation and animality that I saw in that video that made me question a lot of things in our country, and I felt that even the Islamic countries don't even see things like this and don't even act in such a barbaric way. The lady in question now, I think that she needs medical examination to ascertain the outer and external and internal injuries that she might have, that might have occurred during the perpetration of this act. And I feel that those people should face the law of this country. Nigeria is not a Sharia country. I emphasize for those who are listening to me, Nigeria is not a Sharia country, and I know quite well that in Kwara states too, such law can never come to pass and can never stay. Hence the reason why I'm emphasizing that the law must take its course, and we should not promote such acts in this country, because this is really barbaric and it's very disturbing. Even watching the video, I was having goose pimples, and I'm wondering, why will such men tomorrow not raise their hands and eat their wives? Because this is how it starts. Quickly, in 1 minute. In 30 seconds, actually.
I think, like you said, there's no excuse for the act. But you see, we fail to look at things from a specific perspective. It's called absolute relativism and relative relativism. Look, we are all different people. They have chosen to subscribe to a religion that at some point in time, positively or negatively, subscribes to being beaten when you fail to act in line with the religion.
All right, many thanks for that. We've come to the end of another edition of Real Talk with Kike, and I must say many thanks again for being on the show today. And
it's a pleasure.
Of course, to Marshall, I'm giving you all the green card, all the name it. I should buy you a drink, maybe before the week runs out, of course. Indeed, we've had an awesome show on today's edition of Real Talk with Kike. And again, many thanks to our resourceful guest.
Thank you very much, Dayo Fagbulu.
It's a pleasure.
I must continually emphasize that Marshall
and
facilitates.
We need to go and get containers somewhere.
My co-hosts are putting this back to those who are listening, who are not on the show today. And for the one that is beside me, you all must bring a guest to the show. Bye now. My name is Kike Lobatadao.